and welcome to the Actual Tech Media MegaCast. My name is Jess, and I am excited to be here with you all today. But before we jump into our content, I have some basic information to cover with you. Let's kick off our day here today by taking a quick tour of your audience console. And we're going to start with the questions window. Now, if you haven't already said hi, there is a whole audience of cool humans out there, so reach out and give a wave to the other members of the Actual Tech Media community. Also, keep in mind that if you have any tech issues today, a browser refresh is going to fix just about anything. But if those tech gremlins are clinging on, no problem. Just throw a comment in the question section and our crew will be there to help. We also want this to be an informative webinar for you. So throughout today's MegaCast, we hope you'll get engaged and ask all of your burning questions. Not only will we have team members responding to you over live chat, we will also have a dedicated Q&A session at the end of our presentations. And if we do not get to your question during the webinar, don't worry, because the awesome experts that we have here with us today will be following up with you after we wrap. All right, next up on our tour, there are going to be lots of cool aha moments in the MegaCast today, and if you want to share those with your community, we've made it nice and easy for you. You can use the Twitter button right there in your audience console, and the hashtag for today's MegaCast will automatically get added to your post. And our last stop on this guided tour, be sure to check out the Handouts tab for some resources and takeaways from our speakers here today. We have an info pack collection of solution briefs, white papers, data sheets, free trials, ebooks, upcoming webinars, and more. So many great resources, so be sure to go explore. And if that wasn't enough fun, we also have some exciting prizes we will be giving away throughout the MegaCast today. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about those later on, but a few quick reminders for you all. You do need to be in attendance here live at the webinar in order to qualify to win a prize, and we will follow up with all winners after we wrap the MegaCast today. Now, all winners must submit an IRS Form W9 to Actual Tech Media, and all winners must meet the Actual Tech Media prize terms and conditions. Now, hey, if you're not sure what those are, no problem. You can find the full T's and C's in that Handouts tab. Again, just click into the Handouts section, scroll down to the bottom, and you'll find the full T's and C's waiting for you there. Now, the absolute most important thing to remember here today is that we love getting all your insightful questions during these live webinars. In fact, we love it so much that we have a special additional prize for all you inquisitive folks out there. In today's MegaCast, we will be giving away a prize for the best question asked in each of our sessions. Now, the expert speakers and teams will review all the questions asked after the webinar, which means that even if your question does not get read out in a live session, there is still a chance to win. If you are a lucky winner here today and would like to donate the value of your prize, we have several wonderful organizations that we partner with. So let us know when we follow up about winning, and we will get that rolling for you. Again, we are so happy to have you all here with us live at the MegaCast today, and we want to keep that good feeling going. So let's connect on social. Reach out and connect with Actual Tech Media on Twitter and LinkedIn. We have lots of great content, and we always want to hear from you. Now, if you're looking for more awesome content right away after we wrap, you want to jump right in, make sure that you subscribe to the Actual Tech Media channel on YouTube. Another fun way to win a prize and to grow this awesome community is to refer an industry friend or coworker to the Actual Tech Media webinar series. Now, you're going to find a link to do that right there in that Handouts tab, and you will also be automatically redirected after we wrap today. Now, both you and your coworker, your friend, could win a prize, and we actually hold those drawings every month. So be sure you refer somebody awesome before you head out today. It could quite literally be a win-win situation. Next, we have a cool opportunity for the decision makers out there to get connected with new and emerging tech and innovative vendors. Here's how it works. All you need to do is click on the link in your Handouts tab and fill out the application. Then the Actual Tech crew will match you with some vendors that we think you should be chatting with based on your needs. There will also be fun opportunities that you can choose to join in, like surveys or test running new solutions, extended demos, and so on. You'll get some chances to win extra prizes, you'll chat with great people, and you will learn about the hottest new trends in tech. So be sure to apply, or hey, send that link to a decision maker in your team. Now, I want to take a quick minute here to remind you about one of my favorite resources, and that is ransomware.org. You can find everything you need to know about ransomware, how to prepare, how to prevent and recover. The site is jam-packed with information, helpful tips, checklists, strategic approaches, case studies, everything you need in one place. So wherever you are in your ransomware preparedness journey, there is something for you at ransomware.org. So go check it out and start exploring. All right, I have one more exciting resource I have to tell you about today, and that is the Gorilla Guide Book Club. It's going to give you access to free enterprise IT books authored by top industry experts, so you can stay up to date on trending enterprise technology. And yes, these books are going to work on your Kindle, your mobile device, and they are completely free, super easy. You can download these awesome resources at gorilla.guide, and there's a link for you in the handouts tab as well. Okay, well, we've covered a lot of important things already, and I don't know about you all, but I am excited to dive in. So let's get rolling.
All right, and hello. Welcome, everybody. I hope you are ready because we are about to dive into today's topic: work from home, return to office, hybrid, empowering and protecting workers wherever they live. And I love this topic because it's relevant to all of us. The internet is a flurry with discussions about the benefits of remote work versus the benefits of returning to the office. And frankly, most of us are probably somewhere in the middle. A hybrid approach to work is commonplace in most organizations as of today. And this challenge posed, or the challenge that is posed because of this, is really how do we secure our data and our endpoints while still allowing for quick and seamless collaboration in the workplace? Luckily, the awesome teams at ControlUp and Menlo Security have sent some of their top experts to help us navigate this conversation. So by the end of today's MegaCast, you will be an expert yourself. This is going to be a great day, and I cannot wait to get started. So let's dive right in. First and foremost, I want to say a hello. My name is Mackenzie Puddesy, and I am a moderator here at Actual Tech Media. I'm joined by my fellow moderators today, Jess Steinbach, Scott Becker, and Keith Ward on live chat. So a full crew in the house. Say a quick hello in the questions tab if you haven't already. And of course, we are also going to have some best question gift cards to be given away. So as you're here live on today's MegaCast, throw in great questions for our speakers because we're going to have some great Q&A as we go through. Now, prizes have been mentioned. Yes, prizes are pretty exciting. And today we have quite a lot to give away. So first and foremost, we have 5 Apple iPad Airs up for grabs. And every half an hour, we are going to be giving away a $300 Amazon gift card. So a reminder that you do need to be present and live with us to win here at the MegaCast. And as mentioned in the housekeeping chat this morning, you can find the full T's and C's linked in the handouts tab if you have any questions about that. And hey, with that last little thing, I believe we are ready to rock. Today, here to set the stage for us, we have Bill Clayman. He is going to be delivering a timely keynote to get our heads prepped for the various topics that are likely to be hot topics today here on the MegaCast. And with that, I'm going to let you take it away, Bill. The floor is yours.
Hello, everybody. This is Bill Clayman. Welcome to another Actual Tech Media broadcast. Work from home, return to office, or maybe you got the best of both worlds in a hybrid kind of a solution. But we're going to be talking about empowering and protecting workers, you all, wherever you live. Now, what's really great about this conversation is that you actually could be quite literally anywhere. You could be working from your home in your PJs, or you could be returning to your office, or you know what? You might have the best of both worlds where you are in your PJs in your office. Listen, if that's your scenario right now, that's definitely going to be a win for you. But we're going to be discussing sort of the balance between the two and really, again, how to empower and protect the folks that are serving that most awesome mix of flexibility, both at home or maybe in the office. I am Bill Clayman, the CEO and co-founder of Apollo. I am also the AFCOM Data Center World Program Chair and the contributing editor over at some really wonderful publications, including Data Center Knowledge, Data Center Frontier, and some security publications as well, including Dark Reading from Information Week. So, like I said, you might be quite literally anywhere. And what's fascinating about this conversation, I have no idea how you're consuming this, but the reality is that we as sort of an environment of people are now starting to find this better balance of where and how we should be working. So when we start to take a look at worker habits by the numbers, let's kind of take a look at this really quick. So we take a look at how you all are, I guess, working from wherever it is that you're working from. But currently, about 12.7% of full-time employees work from home, illustrating this rapid normalization of a return of remote work environments. Now, simultaneously, a significant 28.2% of employees have adapted to a hybrid work model. Now, this model combines both home and in-office working, offering flexibility and maintaining a level of both physical presence at the workplace, but also allowing you to be as productive as you can be using the tools that you require to be productive and efficient. Now, what's fascinating about this is that by 2035, we're going to have like 33 million Americans that are going to be working remotely actively, while about 16% offer full remote capability. That's for full-time employees. Now, what's really important is that most people, 98%, actually want to work at home or remotely, let's just say, at least some other time. So the big question comes in is, what's ultimately happening? Are we going back to the office? Is it a better little mix of the two? So if we take a look at this, there's a pretty cool statistics out there. I was able to sort of collect a few of the latest modern trends around how we're being effective and working. 72% of companies have noticed an increase in revenue when returning to the office. Policies have been set. So listen, when we're in the office around the water cooler, sometimes we might be a little bit more productive, but the bottom line across all of these kinds of conversations, and as we look at these new technologies, and the reality is that a flexible model still really does work best. In this scenario right now, so 43% of employees actually worry about not being able to have some kind of a flexible hour. And what we know is that this sort of flexible architecture for how we work is only going to continue to grow. There's a really cool reference point. I'll read some more from these really cool statistics, is that 42% of companies allowed a hybrid schedule in 2021. And just think about that. In 2024, it's over 80%. 81% now offer some kind of a hybrid schedule. And that's why it's crucial to remember that staff members expect to have some level of flexibility in their schedules. And remember, almost half of all employees, American employees, are looking for some kind of a remote position in their next job. Again, being able to be remote, but also as effective as possible from whatever they are working from. Now, the big question is this. All right. You found your comfy chair, you found your comfy pajamas. Now, when you get your laptop, your device, all the myriad of things that we connect with, how do we ultimately keep this protected, all of you protected? Now, that is going to be a part of the conversation for today. Again, keeping all of you efficient as well as safe with the devices and tools you use in your flexible work environment. So we're going to talk about this a little bit. Now, when we work from home, right, we all have the best possible computing habits, the best possible browsing. We don't click on any of the links that we're not supposed to. Right. Well, that's not unfortunately always the case, because one of the things that we've noticed over the years, and listen, we're not going to talk about the pandemic anymore, but it was certainly a place where we learned quite a bit about user behavior. We learned that, unfortunately, workforce behavior is sometimes pretty risky. This is from a really interesting study called WebRoot, Hook, Line, and Sinker, Why Phishing Attacks Actually Work. So 35% of employees who know that they've been hacked don't bother to change the password afterwards. 50% admit they're going to click on links in their messages from unknown senders during work. 67% are sure that they've received at least one phishing email at work, and then 40% that receive sometimes dangerous and malicious phishing emails won't even report it. But beyond this kind of behavior, we also start to see an introduction of some complexities in the environment as well. These business ecosystems that are growing more complex because, again, we're not just in the office anymore. So first of all, policy enforcement. This has become a little bit more tricky because we have more people logging in from more places. So establishing clear policies and procedures for things like data security, device usage, and even remote access to maintain a secure work environment in that flexible hybrid setting becomes a little bit more complex because you have so many different kinds of variables to control. Compliance challenges. Now, this becomes even more of a nuance because if you're a multinational organization, goodness gracious, GDPR and now the all-new AI Act that was actually just passed in Europe is something also to consider. But navigating regulatory requirements and ensuring that you adhere to data protection laws across, again, multiple work locations and devices, well, that becomes a little bit challenging as well. So you have to have the tools in place to actually support that. And finally, we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about employee training. This one is so incredibly important. Please understand this. Providing comprehensive training on cybersecurity best practices. How do you handle data? How do you recognize a threat that's potentially coming in, regardless of your work arrangement? It doesn't matter where you are. How do you ensure that you're operating as safely and as effectively as possible? Again, by carefully balancing these measures with the workforce flexibility, organization can start to mitigate and strengthen their overall security posture. All right, now, there's some other challenging stuff right around the corner here. Not right, it's actually here right now. And this is the reality of the situation. Weaponized AI. Goodness, I don't want to make this any sort of a scary conversation, but this is just stuff that you need to be aware of. The reality of the situation is that with modern AI solutions and technologies, well, it does get a little bit scarier in the sense that, well, these attacks are getting a little bit more sophisticated. So when you take a look at end users, now remember, in the back of your head, I want you to think about this is not a user that's sitting in the office necessarily. They could be at a coffee shop. They could be at home, at a school, university. Again, this flexible model, 94% of threats are coming in through the inbox. AI will conduct automated social media reconnaissance. Phishing attacks are going to become far more contextualized and seem very genuine. Victims are going to be much more easily lured. And now you've got things like generative AI and unfortunately ChatGPT that you have to be concerned about as well. And there's a lot of things around that generative AI aspect that should be concerning, whether it's you putting in information, whether it's, a model that's potentially leaking information. As a side note, that's kind of the stuff that we work on with Apollo, where we look at this AI platform and ecosystem and we figure out ways to secure it so it's not jailbroken, so that information isn't leaked. So in the age of AI, that is another variable that you absolutely need to consider. How do I ensure that both I have the tools, but as well as best practices in place to make sure that my staff members are secure? So let's talk about that. Let's briefly discuss this. So a lot of these recommendations come from my own expertise in working with a myriad of endpoint devices. I worked a lot with Citrix and VMware, deploying all sorts of different kinds of endpoint devices for very distributed users. And now my work carries me into working with AI and AI security as well. So I want these next couple of slides. I don't have too much more. I promise we're going to be getting into the main presentation here in just a second. But these next few slides are going to be absolutely important. So get off your Amazon shopping list for just a second and come hang out with me. When we speak with users across the board, whether they know this or not, it's important to remind them of two very important aspects: safety and security. Now, they're different, actually, right? So security is that we must protect our devices and data and infrastructure in the same way that we protect our doors to our homes. And safety, we must behave in ways that protect us against risks and threats that come with technology. So a physical architecture as well as one that promotes good behavioral patterns, right? So physical as well as behavioral security and safety measures. Now, once you get that inside of your mind and your users, that delineation between those two very important points, you can start to apply security based on context. So physical cybersecurity based on context and layers. Who are you? What are you? How are you getting in? Where are you getting in from and when? Now, this gets so much more complicated depending on the device, what's actually coming in, and how you can ultimately secure it. But once you get those two different kinds of delineations of security mindsets, again, the physical side of it, the behavioral side of it as well, you can do some pretty extraordinary things. Now, from a technology perspective, you could have all the tools in place that you want, but unless your users are prepared for this, you're not going to get very, very far. You need to have some aspect of security awareness training, because remember, the traditional approach to security, that's it. It's out the door. It's not going to work anymore. 1 in 50 URLs are malicious. That little lock in the upper left-hand corner of your browser that says, I'm a secure website because I've got HTTPS, that's not the final say anymore. 1 in 3 phishing sites use HTTPS to appear legitimate. Again, over 90% of threats are coming in through emails, and there are new physical threats against both users out in the wild, but also when they are working in those sort of flexible kinds of environments. So the big question is, does security awareness work? Oh my gosh, yes, it does. When you combine it with excellent physical infrastructure security tools, as well as security awareness, simulation training, over 70% less likely to click on a malicious link or a phishing email. So now when you have a good behavior and a good security posture in place, holy cow, you are creating a flexible remote environment that's going to be a lot healthier and certainly a lot more secure, because we now not only know about security, we share the responsibility around security models. Now, I have 2 more slides. I just want to end with some really important final notes because, again, we are truly distributed. We have so many more people everywhere. Zero trust models are really, really critical to think about. These are not one piece of technology. They are truly a model and a practice. Trust nothing, verify everything, keep it simple. MFA, multi-factor authentication, that's a default at this point. That needs to be a part of your environment, whether it's through a phone, a device, dedicated token, whatever the case might be. You need to have multiple ways to allow users to get into your environment and authenticate them in more than one manner. Regular security audits, because let's be honest, there are always security gremlins. You need to conduct routine assessments, vulnerability scans, test your users and identify security gaps. I cannot stress this enough because my final point, hope is not a good strategy. It's not. Don't put your head in the sand hoping that it's not going to happen to you. You are a target. Your users are a target. But when you apply, again, security and safety measures, that behavioral aspect of it, as well as the physical infrastructure, you position yourself in a much more favorable way to support those users that are returning to the office, that are working from home, or enjoying that flexible kind of model. All right. We are sending it back to the actual tech media broadcast of the day. But if you have any other questions, any other thoughts, by all means, find me on LinkedIn. Let's continue this conversation. But with that, sending it back to you.
All right, Bill, that was amazing. You got a whole bunch of questions and comments in the audience. So it sounds like people are lively and ready to chat. This is a topic that is very much on everyone's minds. There's a lot of mixed opinions about it, and I think it's going to make today a really great day. So thanks for setting the stage. Before we jump into our first session, I do have a poll question up for all of you. So I'm just checking to make sure you're all awake and alive and enthusiastic out there. The poll up is, what is your time frame for adding new or updating your existing IT solutions at your company? So as we talk about return from home, remote work, and how do we secure and give access and these kind of seamless and functional manners, where are you at with that? Where are you looking to update? How soon? Maybe you don't know. Maybe you're just, sussing it out, seeing what the options are, seeing what sort of tech is out there to help you pull this off in your organization. And that's why you're here. So I'm going to leave that poll up for just 2 more seconds. That said, the more active you are today in your polls and your questions and your comments, the more fun we're all going to have, the more we're going to learn, and the more you're going to get out of it. So I do want to remind you, as our first presenter comes out in just a second, please do ask insightful questions, and we'll have some time both for the live Q&A, but again, there's a $50 best question gift card from each session. So, like Bill said, get off your Amazon shopping list. Well, for the next little bit, get off that shopping list. But once you win the card, you can get shopping in your evening. So anyway, with that, I'm going to bring out our first presenter. I would love to introduce you to Jeff Johnson. Jeff Johnson is the product marketing manager at Control Up. And he is going to be presenting. He's got a little bit of a live demo, and then I'll be hopping on to join Jeff for some Q&A. Jeff, are you ready to rock?
Absolutely. I'm all jacked up on coffee, ready to go.
Awesome. Well, take it away with your caffeine eye.
All right. What we're talking today is about empowering and protecting workers wherever they live, right? So when we think about this, we had a great keynote that talked about people are already out there. They're already working from home. This digital workplace is changing with not just people working everywhere, but budget constraints, hybrid, evolving threat landscapes, technology longevity. I mean, just even the batteries of our laptops, are going bad if they're always plugged in, and things are always going wrong, and we're trying to fix them. It's harder to fix them if they're working remote than it is locally, but we do have a solution for that. This pace of technology is also changing. This lack of visibility and the generative AI and cybersecurity and remediation, and we really have to get our hands around helping those users work wherever they are and whenever they are working. And being able to do this and keeping costs down is paramount. There's a study at 55% of digital workers approach, IT for technical support, meaning a lot of them don't call IT. In fact, there's other studies around there that say the The average person spends maybe 4 hours troubleshooting their device by themselves. It's 4 hours of lost productivity. So the employees, they have slow logons, they have connectivity issues, they have data loss, hardware failures. We're seeing a lot of lost productivity out there. That's just the labor. It's, also when people have a poor experience, they're going to blame it on the company. So their device is running slowly, or their home Wi-Fi is poor in some locations and not other locations, and they still blame IT, or they complain, or they have, again, lack of productivity. So we really, really need to address that. We need to also address, the sustainability of the hardware, IT agility, cost effectiveness in the workplace, digital experience. We have lots of things that we need to work on as a company, and we can't let all of this supporting these hybrid workers bring us down. So to improve this, we need better visibility. To reduce costs, you need better visibility of these desktops and applications that are out there. We need better visibility for diagnostic support. We need better visibility to accelerate the value of realization of that technology. That's what we provide, not just the visibility, but the remediation of that. That's why we built Control Up. We say we have unbounded productivity for IT's employees across any desktop, any application, anywhere. Now, I sold System Center Configuration Manager for years for Microsoft and Windows and Microsoft Intune. I always thought that was not just for application and OS deployment. I always thought that was for troubleshooting remediation. But then as I really kind of got into Control Up, I was trying to figure out, how does Intune and System Center, which I still love, how does it really help me with troubleshooting and remediation? Well, we'll get into that. This is our methodology right here. We collect, connect, and correct. How do we do this? We collect the data. We have agents that are out on Windows, OS, Mac, Linux, thick and thin clients. We have APIs to collect the data, whether it's from a hypervisor, or it's from Zoom, or it's from Teams to collect the application data. We have synthetic testing to get data from SaaS and web apps and infrastructure. We get security data. We get qualitative data through sentiment scores or from surveys. And this data that we collect is in the form of metrics. So we have online and offline caching, 3-second data collection. We get performance data, network data, even network data of an unmanaged network. We look at applications and crashing and things like that. That's collecting the data. When we take a look at connecting the dots, this is like you collect all this data and you can become overwhelmed. But through our dashboards, through our extensions, like with Microsoft Intune and ServiceNow, through some really fancy scoring of what's going on in the environment, what do I work on first, through integrations with APIs and webhooks, and I can download it into Power BI or into Excel. And with the help of Gen AI, I can really get to understand what's going on in my total environment, but for specific users. And then we can also correct the course with automated or manual actions that can be time-based, or we can have power controls. We can have scripts that go out and get more information or do some remediation. We could provide remote assist. That's remote control, remote shadow. We provide insights like application usage, vulnerability mitigation, sizing, cost saving, desk cost optimization, and then even notifications like, hey, something's going wrong. I want to correct the course. So we have conditional notification. We can do webhooks, emails. We can do things in Teams and Slack and surveys. Well, let's get into this a little bit deeper. Our customers love us. With Control Up, monitoring and automation in place, we can reduce the number of service desk tickets by an average of 100 per week. So we think about this Control Up. We have all of this information that we're gathering. We're able to present it logically and then provide the remediations to deliver this solution. In this presentation, we're going to be talking about digital employee experience, DEX. We're going to talk about application and the physical endpoints, because those really work primarily in this work from home. Yes, VDI and endpoint security. VDI absolutely work from home. I only have 20 minutes, so we're just going to talk about these three for this session. These physical endpoints. So you're kind of looking at, and I'm going to give a demo here in a little bit. You're looking at this web interface, beautiful web interface with some devices that are around. I can look at device health. I can look at network insights. I can provide a remediation action on a device or multiple devices. I can provide notifications, not to just people, but to IT, that something is going wrong. That helps me with proactive remediation. And then I can provide also that remote assistance if I need to control their machine or just shadow their machine. If I take a look at applications, there's so many applications that are out there. There's SaaS and web applications, unified comms applications, local applications, and published applications from remoting. So I can do synthetic testing to see what's going on with applications that are out there. I can look at Teams and Zoom data. I can even look at live callers, and I can even get local information. I can match up the API with Zoom or Teams with the data that I get locally from that machine and say, oh my gosh, they're having a problem with their meeting right now, and I can see they have high latency on this network that's local to them. It's their network. It's unmanaged, but I can still see that latency on their environment. As far as the digital employee experience goes, I can then trigger employee sentiment surveys. Maybe that survey is based off of an action, like they had 80% CPU, and I want to send them a survey saying, what's going on with that? Is everything okay? Actually, I know it's okay, and you'll see that in my demo. I can look at experience scores. I can use AI Assist to understand what's going on. And I can do automated troubleshooting, automated remediation, and I can even open and close a ServiceNow ticket. So everything I do with automation, I can take a record of that and show the worth of this product. Well, let's get into this demo. I'm super excited. Here we go. Hang on. So here we have Microsoft Intune. Love Microsoft Intune. And as I said earlier, a lot of times, how is it really built for troubleshooting or remediation? If I go to my Windows devices, let's say I have a problem with this Nook B11, and okay, I got some information there. I can look at my hardware and see my hardware information. I can look at discovered apps. Look at get some information on that, an application version number. I can look at compliance and things like that. But look at this little button over here. This is Control Up. It's called Control Up Enrich. It saw the device name and says, I know a device name. And I can look at device performance. I can look at network performance. What's going on with that network? I can look at disk information, event logs. I can look at application crashes and blue screens of death, right? When did they happen on that machine? That's fantastic. I can also then look at my actions. These are scripts that I could run against that machine. I can run into a remote shell or remote control from here also. But look at this. Here's top processes that are running, and then here's top process by RAM. The other one was by CPU. In Finance app, what's going on with that Finance app? Maybe that's the problem that this user is experiencing with that Finance app. But you know what? From here, I could even stop or kill that application right there. But maybe I want to get some more information from that machine. Well, let's jump into the Control Up console. So here we are. I have that same machine, but let me back up a little bit. Here's my machines across the world. One time we saw a device in Chad, Africa. We called someone, say, did you lose your device or on vacation, right? I can look at overview and details. Here's this machine that we were talking about earlier. So I can see that I have my device score. I can even click compare with averages across my entire environment. My CPU usage. I can look at my network usage. Oh, check this out. Latency. I can drill down and see the latency between where they are and where Control Up is, or any other SaaS app or important thing that I want. I can look at date ranges. Here's the last 7 days of data that I were collecting on these machines. But whoa, something's hadn't happened in this last couple of days. Let me go to the last hour. Look at this memory usage. It looks like I have a device that has or an application that has a memory leak. This finance app is using 220 gig of RAM, and it's going up slowly, or pretty quickly actually. My CPU queue length is kind of high, but maybe I want to do a little more diving on this. Here's my applications, and I want to look at highest CPU or working set. There's that finance app again. I can take a look at installed applications, missing patches, things like that. Okay, well, let's dive down a little bit more on this thing. What do we have here? So we're going to configure something. We're going to go into, let's say, scripts. So this is a script that will warn the user they're going to close the finance app, and then they're going to stop that process. So let's go ahead and enable this script. Okay, great. Now, let's go into my alerts. So we can have a conditional alert. Now, let's check this out. So this alert says, if it's on Windows, and if I have a timeout of 600 seconds, number hits 1, and they have a total memory is used is 20 gig, then I could use a system script, or like with this one, a user script. Run that script and then send them a survey. Now, this is just for an example, right? I could send them a survey whenever, but maybe for this one, hey, I see something's going on. If I can't quite tell what's going on, or maybe after I fix something, I can say, hey, did that fix your issues? Well, let's go to this machine. We're going to go ahead and do a remote control of this machine, or remote shadow. We can see there's that physical memory eater. That's my my application that's consuming more and more memory. And this is just some other things I have running in the background here. Oh, it closed it. It says the finance app is running low. Please restart that application. Okay. And then it says, hey, there's a survey. Now I can do all kinds of survey questions on this, or I can just do a free form. We have so many options on our survey. I can add it to an NPS score, things like that. Yeah, problem solved. I can even add that if I want to do that to a ServiceNow ticket. And hey, I saw this, I fixed it, I closed it, great. Well, that was an application. Well, that was actually a lot of device information and an application. But what about more about applications? Well, great. If I look at some reports, hit my favorite report, it's an application usage statistic, because there's lots of applications that are out there that we purchase, but nobody uses, like that RC notifications. I have the second one down. I had 10 licenses, but no one's using it. I can look at how many devices have that applications. I can look at CPU. I can look at total instances. I can look at bytes available, duration. So I can really kind of get to understand who's using what applications or not using applications, and I can reclaim some of my licenses if I want to. Oh, but remember Teams and Zoom? I can get Teams and Zoom API information on who's using Teams and who's using Zoom and how the call's doing it. And I marry that. I match it with the local data that I'm gathering on these devices, and I can report off of it. I can troubleshoot it. I can remediate off of it. It's fantastic. I can also look at synthetic monitoring to SaaS and web apps. This one's for Teams. So I can say from the Florida data center down here in the bottom, I want, or anywhere in the world, I can go and run these tests against that service, because maybe it's a local problem or regional problem, not a global problem. So I can start drilling down. I can notify the users, don't call me because I know this is broken, and I'll let you know when it's up and running again. I also have remote apps because we have published applications. Those are great, right? We can, remember the collect information with my API. I can go down there and look at all the information from my hypervisors, whether it's network, storage, CPU, what's my response time of the application, all that great detailed information I can gather. And then these surveys that we can run out there. I can run all kinds of surveys and get all kinds of data on what's going on not just problems and resolutions of my IT department, but I could even ask them HR survey questions. And then that digital employee experience. Here we have all my employees, and are things running well? Are things running not well? Are they running bad in a certain area? Here's the Jeff Johnson one that we looked at earlier, and I can get my application minutes, my active minutes. I can look at my applications that are running. I can get a lot of detailed information. Oh, but guess what? I have AI insights also. With AI insights, say, let's look at that machine, how it's been running over time, and let me tell you what it thinks the problem is with this machine. So it looks like I should upgrade my CPU is what this is telling me for AI. So wow, I could be a low-level tech person to get some really detailed information what's going on that. But I also have other kind of AI to assist me. Oh, this is incredible. Let's say I wanted to have some visualization on calls from today, or give me the average video call. These are examples. I can put whatever I want in there, right? I can look at issues, show me yesterday's application crashes, right? Go ahead and click that. Again, I can put free text in there. I can have it graph. I can have it make a chart. I can have it, I can just download it. Oh, it's just really fantastic technology that we've implemented recently on our product to give some really good detailed information about your tenant, about your instance of ControlUp. Yep. So, hey, that's ControlUp in a nutshell. How do we support that work from home environment? Look at it, just enables team members to more quickly find the issue, resolve the matter, and move on, right? It's time to deliver your desired strategic outcomes. We provide sustainable hardware to refresh practices for device inventory. We do intuitive dashboards and experience scoring, proactive alerting, understanding usage across any device, any application, cost optimization, vulnerability and risk management, which I didn't show you. Look it, you're in great company. We have lots of happy customers. This one stat over here says 10 million plus. Our customers do 10 million plus automated remediations executed weekly. Things that we programmatically discover and programmatically remediate. 10 million a week. And with that, open discussion. Thank you. I know we covered a lot. Man, that was exciting. But I really would love a chance to get to have some Q&A.
All right, excellent. Well, you've got a lot of questions that have come in. I'm not sure we'll have time for all of them, but let's see what we can make it through. I'm going to quickly throw up a poll for everyone out there in the audience. If you are excited, curious, interested here in the ControlUp solution, you can answer the poll there about what you're looking for. Data sheets, customer case studies, pricing details, a personal demo, and they'll be able to hand that right over to you guys after today's MegaCast. And while you're answering that, let's dive into some Q&A. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So a few simple ones here. First one is just, I think you kind of touched on this, but what operating systems do you support?
Yeah, so with we do Mac, Linux, and Windows, and most modern version of Windows. We also do thin clients. So there's a few thin clients that are out there that you can download the agent directly from the thin client manufacturer. Yeah. Okay.
And do you support VDI desktops?
Yeah, in fact, that was a whole nother presentation. The detail we're getting information. So we have what we call real-time DX, and that gives us the API information for VDI, whether that's Citrix, Horizon, AWS Workspaces, or Azure Virtual Desktops, and we're even have something called a remote DX agent where we can get. So if your endpoint, let's say it's at home or it's at Starbucks, and then you're running your virtual instance from there, we can get Wi-Fi information from that unmanaged network through our remote DX agent that's installed on that endpoint device. It's fantastic. I would highly encourage, if you have any VDI environment, I highly encourage you to take a look at real-time DX.
Okay, excellent. I've got a couple questions that have come in here around both kind of cloud storage as well as what kind of like CPU or on-site is being used. So First question here is, what cloud is the control up tenant in, and can I use cloud credits?
Yeah, we're in
Let's
the Azure cloud, and yeah, if you have Azure credits, you can use those Azure credits with our control up service. We have a great partnership with Microsoft where we go in jointly with engagements and love working with those guys.
Okay, excellent. And then kind of a segue from that. So Thomas says, wow, this seems like a very powerful tool. When I hear a local agent, I cringe. We have so many agents running on our remote clients. Yeah. How heavy is this agent? You're gathering a lot of info, so I imagine heavy. And then asking kind of what CPU, RAM will this add to the existing machine?
Yeah, the tests I've done is super light, actually. So we gather information up, and then we send it out. And so if the machine's offline, we'll even cache it and then send it out. It's super light on the wire. It doesn't capture everything all the time, because like a computer name won't change very much, but it captures those detailed metrics and then just sends those across the wire. When I look at this thing, it's under like 3% CPU utilization. It hardly uses any RAM. It's actually super, super lightweight. Very proud of the work they've done. In fact, it's because I used to sell Microsoft Operations Manager also. And, that's all server telemetry. A lot of the same server telemetry that we're getting with control up for endpoints. And I never dreamed we'd be able to back, 10 years ago, we'd be able to get all this endpoint data into something that was kind of like Microsoft Operations Manager. Never dreamed of it, but the cloud really gave us that ability to be able to collect that information in a scalable manner, and then optimize that as far as the client agent go, and then across the wire. That's incredible.
Amazing. Okay. Well, speaking of endpoints, where did this question go? Oh no, so many. Let's see.
Yeah.
Like my eyes are bugging.
I covered a ton. I mean,
I know. Okay, we'll come back to that when I find the question. But this one's from Chad. Chad is asking, how does ControlUp's hybrid solution leverage AI and machine learning to predict and proactively resolve performance issues in a hybrid cloud environment? And can you provide any specific examples? Examples around efficiency, he says, operational efficiency.
Yeah, so we just at this point launched our AI. So it's good, and it's getting better all the time. Our AI is looking at all the data from your tenant. So when I'm asking information, it's kind of isolated to your information. When we're taking a look at, kind of like in my demo, it's like, well, I want to see all machines that have, let's say, the finance application, and how many times is it crashing? It's almost like building an ad hoc report, and then if I wanted to turn that into a graph to be able to see that or pivot off of it in different ways. Like I said, I think we just launched this thing today, and everyone's getting a first look at this today, and it's growing and getting smarter every day. I know I kind of dodged that question a little bit, but it's
we'll have to have you back and do a whole thing on the AI functionalities.
Okay, that sounds great.
Okay. I found that other question, super specific, but Mark is asking, will the ControlUp platform let you know if any endpoints are not compatible for Windows 11 upgrade?
Yeah, great.
And you can expand on just general prediction of updates.
Yeah, because if you think about it, we know if the machine has a TPM chip. We know if the machine, how much RAM the machine has. We know how much CPU the machine has. We'll know all the hardware specifics of this machine. And we have that data, and we can run the reports then just to look at my Windows 11 readiness. What's really interesting is, if you think about this hardly as we're doing, we can understand, is the machine ready to upgrade now, or not. I mean, it's not. If it's a no, it's a no. Can it go right now? Or do I just need to add more RAM to that machine and then yes? Because if I have experience metrics, so this digital employee experience, if I have experience metrics, because there's sometimes that machine is Windows 11 ready to go. It has the minimal amount of RAM, yet I run all these complex applications on it. So it might be a yes, technically you can, but we can say, we recommend that it needs an upgrade of RAM, and it is capable of upgrading the RAM. So that's what we're working on, delivering to all of our customers, is that full Windows 11 readiness capability, because we have all that data. We're ready to go.
All right, amazing. We are out of time. There's a bunch of questions that are going to be left unanswered today, but I guarantee that they'll be reaching out. You guys at Control Up can reach out and follow up on a lot of these great questions that came in. So the last question I will pose you, though, is if someone does want to get started today or make a first step, what should they do? Where should they go?
Yep, controlup.com, controlup.com. Get a demo. We love to demo our product. We will demo it every day, any day, all day, and we love to show it off. We love to be really specific to show, we want to talk to you a little bit first to say, what do you want to see? What are your problems? And see if we have the solution to fix that. But right from our webpage, we can schedule a demo for this product. And we have lots of videos too up on YouTube and up on Vimeo. If you want to look at Control Up, all one word, and get that information. But love to demo it. Love to demo our product.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Jeff. I'm going to let you go. Have a great day and appreciate you being here on the MegaCast.
Yeah, cheers. Go Control Up.
Woo. All right, take care. All right. If you do want to learn a little bit more right away, you can also click out into the Handouts tab and you can snag the info sheet, which is titled Edge DX, Improving Work from Anywhere. Simple 2-pager PDF in there. It's got a great summary about what Jeff was talking about today. And you can actually book a demo or learn more with some handy QR codes in there as well. So another great follow-up. And while you're in there, you might want to grab all the handouts from today, both from Control Up, and I'll be soon introducing you to our team here from Menlo Security. They've got their handout in there as well. You're definitely going to want that too. But for now, I've got a few prizes to give away, and I want to quickly just remind you that you need to be present here at the webinar to win. So hopefully you are here to hear your name called out, and you can do a little dance in your seat at home. We've got a lot of prizes to give away. So first one here is the $300 Amazon gift card. This is going out to Andy Bolam from Colorado. And the first iPad Air is going out to Caleb McDaniel from Michigan. And a second iPad Air is going out to Moin Surya from Massachusetts. So huge congrats, Andy, Caleb, Moin. As always, we will be in touch about claiming your prize after the webinar. And don't forget, we still have 3 more big chances to win an iPad Air and another Amazon gift card up for grabs after today's next session. So, hold your breath. Cross your fingers, cross your toes. But more importantly, let's get some great information from our next presenter here on the MegaCast. I'm excited to introduce you to Ritu Gupta, Senior Product Manager at Menlo Security. Not only is there a great conversation here, I'm excited to see what you prepared, Ritu, but I'm also excited to join you for Q&A. So keep this lively question and answer coming in. And with that, Ritu, are you ready to take it away?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Okay, let's start. Hi, everyone. So I'm Ritu Gupta. I'm one of the product managers at Menlo Security, and I'm really enthusiastic or really happy to introduce our new product, which actually works in the same space of work from home, remote users, hybrid users, how to help the enterprises to get over some of the problems and how to provide the access. So from that, let me start. So I want to start by introducing Menlo Security to those who are not familiar with or who might not be familiar with Menlo Security. So we have been in business for more than 10 years. We have around 800 customers, and we have 8 million users who access the internet across the world in various industries, including defense and finance, banking industries. So we have the customers who are very, very security focused. We are a pioneer in browser security with our secure cloud browser, which we provide to protect the users and the applications. So as we have been talking about the remote workforce, so we all have been working remotely on and off, like till 2019, but then COVID happened, and that became more like a norm. Like, even though industry around the world is trying to get more and more employees back to work, but 100% at work is not going to happen anytime soon. So a lot of admins are dealing with the hybrid workspace and the remote users, and they're facing challenges. So the first challenge they have is untrusted endpoints, where they're providing access from users' endpoints, and sometimes they're making a choice because they want to give access from their BYOD devices to attain some efficiency, right? Like, if I'm an employee, I need to do my work, but I might be at a party where I have my cell phone, or I might use my friend's laptop instead of carrying my managed device with me. It just makes it much more easier for me to access the enterprise data and to work and operate on that. So there are the choices which are made by IT admins. And then there is also the explosion of the cloud applications, where few of the application vendors will provide some guards around not accessing from certain IP addresses, certain devices, but a lot of these applications are just available. You can integrate it with your IDP, but it does not stop a user to access that application from their own device. And those devices are less likely to be updated to the latest security patch. The next the challenge we have is the data security. So when providing access, it's becoming hard to provide the least privileged access. So the most known technology which is used to provide access to these private application and enterprise application is VPN, but that also enables the lateral movement. So maybe I hire a contractor, I want to give access to that one application or two application which she needs to do his or her job, but then they get access to the whole network. So how to stop that? So application security is actually a combination of 1 and 2, right? So we are providing access from these untrusted endpoints. The access is more than they need. Now, sometimes there are choices of making the application public on the internet for users to access because it's just easier. And now you open up your application to much wider attacks. And maybe you would hide it behind something, but then the application is still accessible from that untrusted endpoint. What if that's a machine which I share with my son who plays video games all day? So can I trust that endpoint to access my application? What if it's manipulate some of the data, do some code injection? How do you protect your applications with those things? And the IT's biggest problem is access enablement. So even though we are talking about all the security problems, the first thing is doing that audit, making those choices, how to enable this workforce to give access to what they need with all of the different, like some applications are on-prem, some are in cloud, some have source IP control, some are browser-based, some are not. It creates a lot of management overhead for IT folks. And then it also adds a lot of infrastructure cost when you look at the components they need to put in to provide access to different things. And at the end of the day, even when the IT guys, the whole team is doing so much work to provide access to those users, there might still be friction depending upon how, like if you go more towards the security, you might say like you have to use a managed device, you have to use a client, and that just is not efficient, and it might take multiple layers of hops, multiple layers of rendering, and it just creates the end user friction. To solve those problems, I would like you to introduce to Menlo's Secure Application Access. So it provides access to any application from any device. It also provides protection against of the sensitive data. So it has the data security controls in place for all those remote and hybrid users. And it also protects your application from endpoints. So it's built in our design where we are thinking about the security first, but we are providing access to the end user without creating friction and making life of admin easier. We also have a solution which is very easy to deploy and manage, and I'll talk about it soon. So I just wanted to show you overall architecture of Menlo Security. So Menlo's browser security has three main pillars: manage, protect, and secure. So manage the browser, protect the user, and secure the application and access. And we didn't create like a different architecture for each of our pillars and each of our product. Our protect and secure are based upon Menlo's Secure Cloud Browser, which is an interface between the end user and the application. So it protects the user from application problems. So if the application ends up giving something which is malicious and executes in browser, it protects the user from those malicious execution, but it also protects the application because the end user doesn't get to see the actual application content and is not able to manipulate things which are being sent to the application. So the same Secure Cloud Browser, which is present in the cloud, is protecting both the user and the application with the same concept of isolation and having just a browser in the cloud, which is hiding things from the browser on the user machine. So the key capabilities of Menlo Secure Application Access are zero trust access. So we talked about the VPN where it can have the lateral movement and it's very hard to provide access to specific application. So Menlo Secure Application is based upon the concepts of zero trust. It also provides the application security where it's protecting the application from the malicious end users, from the internet, and from the browser vulnerabilities. And we'll talk about that in a little more detail. It provides the admins with various data security controls. It also provides visibility. So again, when we go back to the typical solutions of providing access to the applications, they have some visibility and some not, but Menlo's visibility controls our logs, our forensics, give access to every transaction just because we live in the browser and end user is making, which gives much more visibility to the admin. It also has a better user experience. The user doesn't need to install or any endpoint or any browser as far as they are accessing browser-based applications. So they can work in the browser of their choice, on the operating system of their choice, and still access all the applications which are provisioned to them. It's also a very simple solution. So it makes it much more easier for admins to deploy and manage and do their day-to-day work. It has very small on-prem footprint or in data center footprint, depending upon their need, and or the endpoint footprint, again, depending upon the customer's need. So this is the very high level diagram of how's Menlo's architecture look like for secure application access. So we need a small Menlo app connector in your data center or in your private cloud if you have applications which are hosted there. But if you are a company, if you are a end customer who has all of the applications available in the public internet, the SaaS applications, then you don't need that. The Menlo app connector provides you an interface to access your application, and you can hide all your application from the internet and provide access only from App Connector. So it takes out the internet attack surface. You don't need to create any DNS records. You don't need to import any certs on the end user for those applications, but it would provide the access. It also has zero-touch deployment for browser-based applications. So as I said, you don't need to create any DNS records, right? So you go hide your application, put it behind your firewall inside your data center, and this Menlo App Connector would make an inside-out secure IPsec tunnel to Menlo, and the DNS would happen in your data center on that Menlo App Connector. It's a very simple architecture. As I said, if you're using browser-based application, you don't need to deploy anything on the endpoint at all. If you're using non-browser-based application, then you would need a thick client. But your interface between your application and Menlo would remain the same. If it's an application which is available on the internet, you go direct. If it's an application which is available in your data center, you go through the App Connector. But your interface to define the application and giving access to the user remains the same. So we don't ask you to install a new browser. As I said before, the user get to choose the browser of their choice. What Menlo does is in our secure cloud browser, we fetch the content, we execute the content, and then we render it to that end user browser. So even if there is if a user is on that browser and it is interfacing with our secure cloud browser, to that user, it's native. He or she won't feel the difference, and they don't need to install a new browser to access their enterprise and private applications. We provide various access modes. So first is the portal. It's a portal, or like Okta-like portal, where the user logs in. He or she would see the tiles of the applications which are provisioned to them, nothing more, nothing less. They just go in the portal, click the application there, and they can navigate to whatever is required to do their work. It's supported for all the browser-based applications, and it's very ideal for BYOD and a tablet use case. So like I am a mom, I have kids who play sports. So if I am at a basketball game and I need to answer to a query from a customer or from my field, I can go in my portal, click on the application, and do my work even if I'm not at my desk. We also have a browser extension. This is like a lightweight extension which you can install on your Chrome, Edge. We are available in the Chrome Edge store. Once this extension is installed, it just enhances your experience on top of the portal. So with the portal, you have to go to the portal every time you need to access the application. Once you have the extension, even if you get a link like an email, a Slack channel, another application, it will auto redirect you to the URL, which would then go to our secure cloud browser and provides an interface to that application. Again, it's ideal for your contractor, your third parties, your remote workers, your unmanaged devices, where you want to give them access, you want to give access to the smallest possible set of applications, but you also want to make it secure. And we do have a client. Client installation is required for non-browser access. It also, along with providing access to non-browser applications, it also provides posture assessment. So even if it's an unmanaged device, you can have the conditions of if the antivirus is running, if the disk is encrypted, only if the firewall is running, if the operating system version is above this and that. So you are providing access to your non-browser application, but again, it is based upon the principles of zero trust, and it adds the controls of posture assessment. So it's doing a secure access. And the other thing is this client, it makes an encrypted tunnel between the client and Menlo. So any access which is done is hidden to prying eyes. So if your end user is sitting in, suppose, Starbucks and trying to access some private and enterprise application and somebody is trying to tap the wire in to see what they are doing, they won't be able to do that because all of the access is happening on that encrypted tunnel, which provides another layer of encryption around the packets leaving the wire. So I mentioned zero trust access. So we follow the principles of zero trust, and an admin can provide access based upon user, group, source IP, geo, and posture assessment. So we have seen the use case like where admin would like to give an access to application only if the user is in America, for example, or maybe they have some ties or some problems with some country. They can explicitly say that, okay, provide access only from these 3 countries. So if my user, if my employee or my contractor is traveling to some other country, they don't get to have the access to that application. Same is for source IP address. When you have partners, you might be okay to give them access when they are in their headquarters, but maybe not when they are on the road. So it's up to the admin to provide that access and how tight or loose they want the access to be. And again, the access is provided only to those applications, nothing more. So if my admin is providing access to 2 applications and I have 100 applications running in my department, my company, they don't get access to the rest of the 98 applications. So along with providing access to the application, we also have more controls to make that access even less and less privileged. So admin can configure the access to be in a read-only or read-write mode. They can also block uploads and downloads. So again, depending upon the need of that employee, that contractor, that partner, admin can configure various rules and provide the access to that person. We also provide app-specific authentication timeouts. So we have a mix of customers. Some are very security focused who are like, I really don't care. I want to authenticate my user every 2 hours, every 12 hours. And then there are the other spectrum of the customers who are like, I would like to reduce my end user's friction as much as I can. So I don't want them to authenticate all the time. If they told you once that I am this, just don't ask them for a month or more. But they might be running these critical application, maybe like an HR application, maybe an application which has more of customer data. They're saying, okay, if they are accessing these 9 applications, I'm totally fine with them not authenticating for next 30 days. But if that user is trying to access this, my Salesforce or my Workday or whatever is critical for that company, that admin, I would like to know the user is same and authenticate every 15 minutes. So we provide those controls and admin can do whatever they like to do as per their security and their friction postures. Application access security. So that's very interesting because the way Menlo has designed their product, it's just the first concept is the security. So access is the pillar which is required, especially with all of those remote and hybrid users, but we didn't compromise in security. So if you have heard of Log4j, which happened probably at the beginning of 2022, and I remember I was reading some report in October of last year, and then it said 35% of the applications which are using Log4j are still using vulnerable version of Log4j. Then Citrix Bleed happened last year, and it impacted so many customers. And if you go to Citrix website, they would tell you that 95% or 90% of the Fortune 500 companies are using Citrix. So Citrix Bleed happened. Thankfully, not all of them had their admin console available on the internet, but some did. And you would read about those ransomware attacks, somebody going down. You would see like hospitals and banks which were having problems with Citrix Bleed. And when you look into the details of those 2 vulnerabilities, and then there are many more like that, like Atlassian has been reporting things over and over again, is you were just modifying a header and sending to the application. So in the case of Log4j, it was a modified user agent header, which when had the GIND headers, it was able to access some servers around that and then provide the data to the hacker. when Citrix Plate happened, it was just a modified host header, and it was not even you have to craft it. You just enter some value which is longer than some string. And if I remember correctly, it was like 256 bytes. It was not even huge. And your Citrix started leaking session keys, which then was later used to access the server and in some cases asking for ransomware. So Menlo, when we are putting our secure cloud browser in between, it hides all of that HTTP and HTML information from the infected endpoint or even a good endpoint. And the end user is not able to manipulate headers. We are doing sanitization before we send headers to the application server. It protects against session hijacking, cookie stealing, because the cookies are never sent to the browser which is running on the end user machine. It remains in our secure cloud browser. It also protects from internet attacks. So if you have an application which is truly private, then you can hide it behind your firewall, as I said before. Hide the application, remove the DNS record, and provide the access through Menlo Secure Application Access, and you would protect your application from the internet. I remember when I was doing some work a couple of years ago, I just put a proxy online for some testing, and I think my proxy was there for 5 minutes or so, and I could see like 100,000 of requests crawling, which were just trying to find an open proxy on the internet. So as soon as you put your application on the internet, there are people who are just looking for it and try to hack it and bring it down. And then because we have this secure cloud browser in the cloud, we are always running the latest and greatest version of the Chrome. It protects you from the vulnerabilities of the browser on that end user machine. So even if your end user has not updated their Chrome and Edge, it's protected against those vulnerabilities which are present in the browser. And as I said before, it also protects from the malicious endpoints because the endpoint doesn't get to manipulate the headers, manipulate the content, inject things in between just by doing a curl or by installing a plugin which can do things. The another thing which I would like to mention is it also provides the network separation. So if you have a user who's using the browser for accessing your private application and your enterprise application and the same browser for internet content, the content which is the private and enterprise application, that's in the secure cloud browser in our cloud. So that anything which is internet won't see the cookies and all the data which is being served from the secure cloud browser. So it provides multiple avenues for protecting the application. Oops. So we have been talking about the zero trust access, where we are saying don't give access if it's not required. Then we are also saying, okay, if you give access, we protect your application. But now the user has the access, the application is protected, but the data is data. It would just flow through and reach the end users. So Menlo provides controls around data leakage. So we provide copy-paste control where the admin can just block the copy from their application. Again, it depends upon the application. It depends upon the end user. Maybe they're just supposed to read and not take any action upon the content which is available. We also provide data leakage prevention for both uploads and downloads. So again, if you talk about a world where we were like 10 years ago, all of us were going to office and we were accessing things which were inside the office. So our admin had created security policies where they would say, if this user is trying to send something out, which has the word this, please block it. Or if any document which has social security information in it, please block it. But now the world of hybrid and remote user, the direction has changed. I'm sitting at home and accessing my company's data. And if I want to do anything, I have to download it. So Menlo provides configuration policies around that, where an admin can say, okay, I just don't need the DLP controls only for uploads. I need them for downloads too, because I want to make sure my end users are not downloading documents on their own machines, which they are not supposed to. The DLP comes with 300 pre-created compliance dictionaries, and then admin can create their own custom dictionaries to meet their own requirements. We also provide watermarking for the application as well as files and documents. So there is a lot of prevention we can do, but if a user downloads the content and it has watermarked, then if he or she shares the document with someone, it can be backtraced to that person. So it just provides another layer of security when it comes to data. We also provide data redaction. So there is the concept of don't let the user see anything, don't let this user download anything. But there's a use case of, I have the call center guys who needs access to all of the customer information, or maybe not the customer information, maybe just the order information, and they can see what the person has ordered and take the action as the other person on the call is asking for. But they really don't need to see their credit card number. They probably need to see only 4 digits, or they probably don't need to see their SSN. So how do you present the data while you keep it in the same store and not let the end user see it? So we have the data redaction where Menlo works with the customer to redact whatever their requirement is. So the user would see what they need to see to do their work and won't see some of the content which is privileged to that company. We also provide app customization in the same where you can add a comment, but where you can like something and not add a comment. So it's as I said, we provide the access, we provide application access security, and then we have the data security controls on top of that to make it much more easier for admin to figure out what they want to do. So now to build on our story of access, where the admin has decided, okay, I'm going to give access to those 2 applications to that end user. This is going to be read-only and my application is protected. But I also would like to see or know what all the users are doing around the company. So we log all application access. We also provide deep visibility with our browser forensics, which is like a DVR kind of a recording. So you can see everything which is happening in real time and make a decision. It helps with the incident management. It helps with the compliance. So it has different use cases where the browser forensics provides you deep visibility into what happened from the starting to end. It's a policy-based rendering, so it's recording. It's up to the admin what they want to record. We can record the keyboard input, but the admin can choose not to. And like whether they want to record everything, something, then we will drop the things which admin has decided not to record. We also store all of that data in your AWS and in your Azure. So it's not stored on Menlo's network. We require a write-only access to your storage bucket, and then we just push the data and forget about it. We provide a forensic viewer for that content analysis, which has been pushed in your storage bucket. So the main use cases we see with secure application access is giving access to your contractors. So we have been talking about BYOD, untrusted devices, mobile users, and the contractors fit the bill. So it provides a zero trust access. It has the data security controls to give minimum access to that contractor. Providing access is very easy. You just if the application is already created, you just add the name of the contractor in the access policy, or maybe you have a contractor group created. So as soon as the user is added to that contract group, that user will have the access to whatever you have defined already for your contractors. And the same thing is when you want to take away the access. So if it just takes a click or sometimes zero, again, if you have created policies around that group, as soon as the user leaves the group, leaves the company, the access will be deprovisioned. So you don't have to go back and do a lot of work around to provision and deprovision access to specific application or access to specific user. And as I said before, with the browser forensics and our logs, we also provide visibility into user access. So for compliance reason, for other purposes, it does provide you all the details you would like to know. Access from BYOD. So if there is an employee, there's a contractor who would like, or it's a company, because we have a customer who decided to give access from BYOD to their call center because the call center was in another country and it was too expensive to ship laptops every time. And also when the user or that contractor was leaving or that employee was leaving, it was very hard to deprovision the access. So access from BYOD is becoming more and more common. And with our zero-touch deployment for browser-based application, you can give the access without needing anything on the end user machine. Of course, if you want to give access to non-browser application, then you need to ask the end user to deploy the client. It provides access from any device as long as you have a browser. So browser-based application can be accessed from there. It provides the application access security. So I've been saying like how Menlo Secure Cloud Browser is providing security to your application. So if the user is accessing an application from their BYOD, it takes the fear away of what if there is something running on that application, on that machine. And it also provides a separation from internet. So as I said before, if the user is using, and they would because they're using the browser of their choice, so they might be going to like CNN.com, Google.com, gambling.com, and your private application from the same browser, but there is a separation between the internet and the private application because of Menlo Secure Cloud Browser running in the cloud. VPN replacement. So we provide access to all the application. It provides lateral movement. So you get access to whatever the application you have configured, not to the whole network. It also provides shortest path to the application. So if you have multiple data centers or you have access applications running in public cloud, we would connect to the shortest path instead of going back to the data center with VPN installed and then it makes connection. So it just makes the access much more smoother and performant. And it provides much more visibility into the user access as compared to VPN. So another thing which we have been seeing is a lot of pain around VDI, especially with Citrix being acquired by Vista and VMware being acquired by Broadcom, and they are focusing on their higher tier and they're increasing the cost. So and the VDI cost is already high, right? There's no doubt about that. VDI with all their different things, their RAM requirement, their storage requirement, their CPU requirement, and the hypervisor and the management console. There are like millions of pieces you need in your environment to make it work. So that there's so much cost already, and license cost and software cost, and you need to keep updating it, managing it, and every time you add a new user or a new application, you have to think about, do I have enough resources? Do I need to increase the resources? And even if you provide a lot of resources, the end user experience might still not be what they would like it to be because the VDI needs a lot of bandwidth. First, it renders the operating system, then it would render a browser on top of that, which is accessing the application. Do we really need that operating system if everything is browser-based? So it makes it much more harder for that end user to access it, harder for admins to manage just the day-to-day life of giving access to end users. And if there is an incident, then it's just a nightmare. And then also, it's very expensive. And with the changes in the top VDI providers, it's becoming even much more expensive. So Menlo Security Application Solution is much cheaper than that. And then we provide data security controls on top of the access. So it's not like you give the access and the data is just free to be provided to the end user. And with that, thank you. I'll take some questions now, if there are any.
Hey, yeah, absolutely. We've got quite a lot of questions for you. Great presentation, Ritu. Thank you. And
Thank you.
I am going to just throw up a poll here. So anyone out there in the audience, once again, if you are looking for any additional information about the Menlo security solution, this is your easy button. This is your wish list. This is exactly how you can let the Menlo team know what you're looking for and have them pass it to you after today's MegaCast. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, to be a little bit trite. So with that, Ritu, let's dive in a few questions. How's that sound?
Sure.
Okay, first one up I've got is, how is Menlo's approach different from other ZTNA vendors?
So most of the ZTNA vendors, they provide the access. So they do follow the principles of ZTNA, where access is provided based upon user group, geo, source IP, all of that. But once they provide the access, they're out of the picture. So the data security control, the application access security controls, the visibility, that's not so much there as it with Menlo, especially because we live in the browser itself. So we have a lot of visibility and we can provide a lot of controls, as I talked about. And then even like when I was mentioning Log4j and Citrix Bleed, so if like a typical solution, when they would see a vulnerability out in the field, they would create a signature for it, right? So it's an afterthought. So you see a problem, you create a signature, push it to your customers, and your customers are safe from something which has already happened. But with Menlo's approach, we didn't have to create any signatures because our approach is already trying to protect you from those kind of attacks where the end user can modify things and send to application server. So that's how it's different. Like we are looking in, like we're thinking more than just let's give access and move out.
Gotcha. All right, excellent. We've got another question here today about VDI. So this question is, I use VDI to provide access to our applications. How can Menlo help in reduction of VDI as we're looking to reduce cost but maintain security?
Yeah, so as I mentioned when I was talking about our use cases, that's one of the biggest things we are seeing with our customer base too, and prospects, where they are hurting because of VDI cost and it's becoming much, much more expensive. So the approach we are taking is like making a stock list of applications, what they are and who is the user using them, and like start with a smaller customer user base, give them access using secure application access, remove them from VDI, and take steps if they can reach to a point where they can get rid of VDI, very good. But it takes time because the companies usually spend years and years to have an infrastructure like VDI. So moving away would also take time, but just having, and that also making admins think about what are they using the VDI for. So instead of creating that golden image, which usually doesn't happen, they need to see what are their resources which they are giving access to using VDI, and can they take that resource away from the VDI infrastructure and provide access using Menlo Secure Application Access.
Okay, excellent. Okay, this question here, they said, you mentioned separation from internet traffic. Can you explain that again? And in addition, I know Menlo provides internet security too. What happens if the end user is using Menlo for internet access as well?
That's a very good question. So what happens is we are creating this secure cloud browser instance in our cloud, and we are not sharing that instance with anyone. So that browser instance is for that user for that time. So when the user is accessing their private application from their browser, which is installed on their machine, their content, their things which they are getting from internet doesn't get access to anything in our secure cloud browser. So it creates that separation of the network between the end user browser and the secure cloud browser. And even if if there is a customer who's using Menlo for both their enterprise application and internet security, we don't use the one instance of cloud browser for that user. We create two different instances for that user, one for the internet traffic and one for their application traffic. So we maintain the separation even if you use Menlo for both. So that's how we are providing separation and making sure that the data doesn't leak into each other.
Gotcha. Okay, excellent. I do believe we have to wrap up here. We're kind of running out of time. There are plenty of questions that didn't get answered, but the Menlo security team will have all those questions. They'll be able to follow up with you individually after today's MegaCast. But I do want to always give you the opportunity, Ritu, to give a final call to action, or if someone is looking to get started right away, point them in the right direction. So where should people go? What should they do? Or what do you want to leave the audience with today?
Yeah, please check our website, contact our team. We have content for secure application access there. Our team would reach out to you for starting a POV, giving you a quick demo, and then we can start from there.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you so much again, Ritu. Great to have you on, and I look forward to the next time. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. If you do want to learn more right away, again, this is your last chance here as we're about to wrap things up to click into the Handouts tab. You can go check out the Menlo datasheet, which covers how to enable seamless access to enterprise applications for employees and partners without compromising security. And of course, you want to grab all the handouts there because they're super valuable, super full of good information. And like I said, I'm about to give away some prizes and wrap things up on today's MegaCast. So if you haven't answered the poll yet, go ahead and do that as I give away our last couple of prizes, and we'll go from there. So as I said, lots of prizes today. So the next winner, sorry, frog in my throat. Our next winner of a $300 Amazon gift card is going out to Sujay Guge. Hopefully I said that correctly, from Texas. And we have 3 iPad Airs that are going out to Jen Jones from Missouri, Chris Hurdle from North Carolina, and Leah Jennings from Indiana. Congratulations. And just to recap all of today's winners, our first gift card went out to Andy Bolam from Colorado. Our second gift card to Sujay Guge from Texas. The iPad Airs out to Caleb McDaniel from Michigan, Moin Surya from Massachusetts, Jen Jones from Missouri, Chris Hurdle from North Carolina, Leah Jennings from Indiana. And again, as always, we will be in touch about claiming your prizes after today's webinar, and you may have just won a $50 gift card if you put in one of the best questions from each session. So congratulations to everyone one final time, and we'll be reaching out after today's webinar in order to get those prizes claimed. If you are on today's webinar and you would like to chat with us about presenting on a future summit, EcoCast, or MegaCast, we would love to hear from you. You can reach out via email at connect@actualtechmedia.com, and we'll fill you in on all the details. And with that, on behalf of the Actual Tech Media team, I want to thank our speakers from ControlUp and Menlo Security for making this MegaCast possible. And a special thank you to all of you for attending the MegaCast today, for asking some incredible questions and really bringing up the engagement around this conversation. This has been a fun conversation and a great way to prepare ourselves for the hybrid work landscape going forward. So again, thank you for being here with us today. I hope you've all gotten some interesting ideas and tips. I hope you feel a bit more informed or equipped to tackle and implement some of these strategies at your organization. And most of all, I hope you all had fun with me today. And before you take off, be sure to mark your calendars and come back to join us for another EcoCast. We'll be covering strategies and tools for supercharging your public cloud infrastructure. That is next Tuesday, May 28th, 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. And with that, I hope to see you all again soon. And until then, have an absolutely magical rest of your day. Take care, everyone.